Hello, my name is Richard Williams Peters III. On September 20th of 2006, 13 years ago, I had lost everything. Lost all my housing, lost my clothing, lost my personal belongings because of the circuit courts who ignore the factors of life. One, I've never been a violent person. Two, I've never been involved in drugs, nor wanted to be. I'm actually a victim of Contra Costa County Superior Court, Lios Haight. Lios Haight did not have the right to terminate parental rights based on factors. One, I was being victimized by Elena Bernal for nearly a year and a half. I told Elena Bernal that our relationship has expired. I want nothing to do with her after our child was born. Because of her brutality and because of her violent brutality, there was no reason for me to continue being with her or her mother. Now, many times I've tried to get her mother to participate in a lawsuit against Contra Costa County Superior Courts and the Contra Costa County period. Now, I don't even have a prior record or a prior criminal record whatsoever. Never served time in prison, never served time in jail, never been charged with a crime, never even anything. It's insanity. Today I go through what's called mental anguish, and mental anguish means overrated abuse by government in Kansas and California. California needs to pay $2.5 million in settlement, and I will not back off until I get my money. I want my money. I want to be paid for the crimes which these women have caused and damages they have caused. Me, defamation of character, mental anguish, bad faith, and broken chair petitions all need to be filed out, and so forth. The government never had any legal right to enter my home in Chimera Circle and remove Yvonne Francesca Peters to their own satisfactory. They lied to the court judge, Lios Haight, and the other judges, falsely imposing things that were never taking place. And if you were to listen to this thing very quickly, they're sitting there lying about me being neglectful to Yvonne Francesca Peters, who was never neglected. Concord Police Department forced me out of my residence on October 17th of 2004, making terroristic threats towards me if I don't leave or throwing you in jail. I mean, what kind of situation needs that kind of abuse and brutality by police? Concord Police Department, Christina Magely, is one of those ones who I pray to God for death on. If she were to get killed, I would be happy and justice would be served. This is no one else's fault but her own. It was clearly known that Elena Bernal did pull out a knife on Sunday, October 17th of 2004, making terroristic threats with that knife, threatening to charge at her mother and threatened to charge at me if I tried to stop her. This woman has been known to use knives to attack and assault her victims, and it was totally ignored. So what is a man supposed to do? Just stand there and let the woman commit crimes against people like myself who are doing her no harm, who are doing no damage to her? Contra Costa County Children and Family Services must be forced to pay $2.5 million for continuing their assaults and their abuse and their fraudulent remarks and comments which were made against me. Yvonne Francesca Peters would have been perfectly safe in my care and in my custody. I was qualified as a licensed security officer for the public.
We have to take the facts as they're pleaded in the light most favorable, so we're not trying the case. But how could a person in the shoes of your clients possibly believe that it was appropriate to use perjury and false evidence in order to impair...
Now, false evidence, okay, false evidence. What happened was Valerie Early, Lindsay Simpson, Linda Ray, Rhonda McGee, Sonja Hershfield all used juvenile sealed records, and they were been juvenile sealed records from Parsons State Hospital Training Center.
Statutes that prohibit perjury.
Yeah. Perjury and false evidence. Elena Bernal had basically given out false information saying that I was domestically violent. Now, Lindsay Simpson committed perjury in the case J04/, 01946, October 18th, 2004 to 2006. Now, Lindsay Simpson, Linda Ray had used juvenile sealed institutional records from the state hospital of Parsons, which were written 9 years before I moved to Concord, California on December 8th of 1996. I had basically been cleared of all allegations, all actions in criminal court. I was found not guilty, reasonable of self-defense. Now, Linda Ray had lied in court. Yeah, see? Well, they do it anyways.
Due process is somehow consistent with a government official introducing perjured testimony and false? How is that consistent? I mean, I hate to...
Now, Concord Police Department forced me to leave Yvonne Francesca Peters with her mother on Camaro Circle, who was affiliated consistently drug using. Me, I wasn't drug using. What it is Elena Bernal was victimizing me by making terrorist threats of killing me in my sleep. It was very actually awful, really. It was insane. So how's a man supposed to protect his child if the Concord Police Department are too fucking pussy to back off and let the man do his job? What happened prior is August 19th of 2004. Oakland Children's Hospital had written a medical report on Elena Lucilla Bernal on account of her epileptic seizures. They were supposed to give us public assistance, which public assistance was never done at all. Rhonda McGee felt that she has a right to decide whether or not I can leave the house or not. She totally went against it. If I stay there, I'm neglecting the child either way. If I stay there, I'm doing domestic violence either way. So there was no real reason for me to continue staying at Camaro Circle, staying with Elena Bernal and Yvonne. Nanette Dupree on 10/14 had come to the house of Danielle's and told her this is not appropriate. You cannot have the child here and yourself. This is inappropriate. You need to take the child back to the residence and to your own house. Elena Bernal has a whole history of domestic violent crimes, and it's actually amazing how law enforcement will do whatever they can to avoid giving men their rights to their children. Now, I removed Yvonne Francesca Peters 3 times for the simple fact that Elena Bernal has a history in violent crimes. The violent crimes which Elena Bernal has committed over the year of 2002 all the way to 2004. I was basically forced and ran out of Concord, California on January 24th of 2009 because the Concord Police Department would not stop with their stalking, stop with their harassments, stop with their interrogations, stop with their whatever it is they were doing. They didn't want to stop. So I basically had to go ahead and leave Concord, California for my own security and for my own safety. I ended up having to move to Parsons, Kansas and staying there. So for over years, I have basically been forced and to surrender and accept the abuse and the assaults that the government does. Period. It's quite amazing how I basically have suffered over the last 13 years. Now, for the last 15 years, the Hume Center, who committed perjury and committed fraud by writing up fraudulent disability claim of mild retardation when this federal government of Social Security Administration has already declared not mentally ill, not mild retarded, not disabled. Now, when the federal government and Social Security Administration make it very clear, it is subjective that the person obtains a job and a career. My career was in jeopardy and also being threatened by Elena Bernal because she would make a phony, false claim that I'm harassing her and whatever. It's quite ironic, really. Men like myself who want to go to work, go to school, graduate college, are defeated and treated like criminals for the rest of our life. I am a victim of the Children and Family Services. I'm a victim of California and Kansas. This is part 1.